Welcome to Investor Copilot. I am Viraj, and today we are going to discuss ETFs, exchange traded funds. So let's get started. Okay, let's look at basic concepts regarding ETFs. ETFs are composite instruments. They are an aggregation of many other types of financial instruments such as stocks, fixed income securities, commodities, or even other ETFs. So what this means is that ETFs are composed of many different combinations of financial instruments, and they are generally on the heels of the index that they track. What this means is that a lot of exchange traded funds are index tracking. However, there are varieties of ETFs which are uh, focused on certain industry sectors or verticals such as banking, finance, or healthcare, pharma, or manufacturing for that matter, or anything else. So the broad categories in ETFs are index tracking funds, which follow the index very closely, and the other are sector-focused ETFs. ETFs possess technical and financial attributes that are somewhat similar to stocks and can be used to determine their quality and risk. What this means is that ETFs have a lot of technical parameters that are similar but also in certain ways different from stocks. We will discuss these parameters in detail and how you can judge the quality and performance and financial risk involved in an ETF. We will look at that further in this video. ETFs can be bought or sold on the market just like a common stock. The net asset value or NAV of an ETF varies day to day as it is being traded. So, just like stocks, ETFs offer you the opportunity as an investor for buying and selling daily on the stock market, and the NAV, the net asset value, is the price of one unit of ETF. Um, we will look at NAV closely in the upcoming slide. Okay, net asset value. So what is NAV? NAV for an ETF is a function or an aggregation. I will not call it average because it's a complex calculation, but the NAV for an ETF is a function of all its constituent securities. NAV is calculated at the close of each trading day for an ETF, and it reflects the valuation of a single ETF unit, which we discussed. So how do you judge the price of an ETF? You're looking at the price of an single unit of ETF, which is the NAV. NAV is a key component in the calculation of financial information such as return on investment for an ETF. So obviously it's a key parameter. Now let's talk about advantages presented by an ETF. ETFs carry a much lower MER than similar products. Now, what is MER? MER stands for Management Expense Ratio. This is basically the management fees for managing the combination or the constituent securities in an ETF and managing the overall holdings within an ETF, which should benefit the investor. We'll talk about MER in detail as well. ETFs are tax efficient as compared to mutual funds. Um, Mutual funds are similar products to ETFs, but ETFs provide a certain tax advantage as compared to mutual funds. And we will talk about comparisons between ETFs and mutual funds as well. ETFs provide liquidity and trading flexibility. We spoke about this because they're freely traded on the stock markets. Also, ETFs enable diversification of portfolio. Uh, they are a great tool for diversification because you are shielded from the risks posed by a stock, and there is very clear and transparent information in many cases as to the risk profile of an ETF. Okay, now we are going to look at something interesting. So these are snippets from an ETF fact sheet. The ETF that we are going to talk about is iShares NASDAQ 100 Index ETF. This is an American ETF, but we are going to discuss the CAD hedged version of this ETF. Ticker symbol is XQQ. Ticker symbol is the symbol through which it is traded on the stock exchange and can be found as a security on the stock exchange. TSX is the stock exchange that XQQ trades on. Currency is Canadian dollars. So we spoke about MER. MER is declared in the fact sheet and it is 0.39% for this particular ETF. More into any MER. So let's look at MER as an expense. It is charged every month to the ETF investor, but it's calculated daily. So in very simple terms, MER is the average expense that you spend on an ETF, average percentage on its current value. So obviously this will be average of the NAV of the ETF throughout the year, but it is charged monthly. So it's a complex calculation, but you spend 0.39% of the total value of the ETF as expenditure. There are other details here. You see the fund manager, portfolio manager information. Market pricing information is out here. Bid-ask spread is 0.04. We'll talk about bid-ask spread as well later. This is a glimpse into the top 10 investments of this ETF. So we see a list of a lot of US blue chip technology stocks, and we see the percentage combination composition of the ETF right here in this column. So this is very transparent and good information declared on the ETF fact sheet. Total percentage of top 10 investments is 58%. That's a very good information to know as well. Number of investments. This is a sector breakup out here, which you can see. IT is almost 50% of this ETF. Communication services is 17% and so forth. Lastly, risk rating. So this is an important parameter. BlackRock has rated the volatility of this ETF as medium to high. Um, you will always see this particular marker which denotes the risk rating. We have the medium to high out here. Mm, Risk ratings are basically the speak to the gain and the loss that you can experience in an ETF. There is a complex way of calculating risk ratings or uh, marking them for an ETF. Uh, the performance of the ETF for the past numerous years can be seen in this graph, and best and worst returns are also seen over here. There's a note on average return as well. So clearly, this is a sought after ETF. It is doing well. It has given huge returns when the market went its way, and sometimes there's a decline as well, which we can see. So, ETF recommendations will be there through this channel, and look forward to those. Thank you for watching.